Hi everyone, it's Arsh Ellahi, and in today's session we're going to be talking about some of the recent news that's come out in the property market, how it's going to be impacting us as property investors. We're going to be looking at the news that Rishi Sunak actually came out and said that they're going to give us a SDLT break, and we'll be looking at how that's going to impact us as property investors and the pros and cons of it. Now, before we move further, I just want to say a quick hello and thank you to all the new subscribers that have come onto the channel. Hopefully you're finding it of interest. Hopefully you're taking away lots of golden nuggets from the channel. And if you want to reach out to us or you want to support us further, you can press subscribe on the notification bell here. And every time I upload a new video, that will let you know that something's come out. Now, and here's my little disclaimer that all the information that I provide is my own opinion and is not deemed as financial advice. The one thing I will say is that I'll also be looking down at some papers here because I've got a shed load of notes because this is quite a topical topic and lots of property investors are trying to digest the information to see how this can really benefit them. Now, first of all, Rishi Sunak, who came along and said, we're going to try and kickstart the property market. We're going to try and get everyone buying again. We're going to try and start getting people to start investing again. And straight away, property investors thought, oh, okay, this could be quite interesting. And what he actually offered was a 6-month SDLT holiday. Now, for those that don't know, SDLT is pretty much stamp duty. So when you're buying a property, if you're a property investor, you'd get a stamp duty holiday. And what the aim was is to try and kickstart the property market to get in people into buying again. So as a property investor, straight away, as soon as they hear that, they think, oh, brilliant. Okay, anything up to £500,000 now, in theory, if you look at the headline, in theory, they're saying that it's going to be 0% for anything up to £500,000. And this was going to be national for the whole of the UK. And so people started thinking, oh, okay, what's going to happen now? Now, let's break this down. I want to look at it today. Is this good news for us or is this bad news? And when we're talking about for us, I'm talking about us as property investors now. I'll also be looking at this from a point of view of a homeowner. If you're a person looking to buy a property, is this good news for you? And we'll compare the two. We'll also start looking at commercial properties. We'll look at residential properties and the difference between the two. So that's what we're going to be pretty much covering in this session. So first thing to take note of is that these changes don't come into play until actually October 2020. Now, at the time of recording, we're pretty much in the first week of July 2020. So anything that happens now will only take effect from October 2020. Now, as a property investor, if I saw this news, the first thing that I would be thinking is, in actual fact, should I be buying now or should I actually press pause until October 2020 now? Because if I buy a property today, I'm going to have to pay stamp duty. However, if I hold off until October 2020, I won't have to pay the stamp duty. Now, if you read the fine print, believe it or not, this is not really for property investors. The stamp duty holiday or the 6-month stamp duty holiday that they're providing is not for property investors. It is more geared towards people looking to buy their own property or residential property. So you have to be 100% clear on that. So it's irrelevant as a property investor as to whether you buy today or whether you buy in October. Now, as a property investor, if this news came into play, straight away, you've got to think of the motive as to why they came out and they've given us this additional holiday or an additional break. They want people to start getting back onto the ladder. Now, if I was a property investor, I would, in actual fact, stop buying what I was doing now and I would actually wait. Now, if you work on some figures, I'm going to put some very basic figures in here. I've just got them written down here so that I don't have to remember everything. If I was buying a property up to £500,000 and I knew that I was going to get a holiday up, from October onwards, naturally it would benefit me waiting until October to go through the transaction. It could save me up to the best part of £30,000 on a transaction. That's just being on a very basic level. However, if I was to buy now, I would have to spend that in stamp duty. But what I'm going to say is that this does not affect property investors. We'll look at commercial and we'll look at the benefits of this new law that's coming in. Now, if you're buying a property within your personal, you will still, if you're buying it in your personal name, you'll still have to pay the investor's 3% surcharge, which is applicable to all second homes and also property investment deals. So if you've got a property and you already own other properties, you'll still have to pay the 3% stamp duty. So that pretty much wipes out that. That's why, over the last few years, lots of property investors have been buying properties within a limited company. And as a result of a limited company, if you're also buying properties, there are ways that you can get around the surcharge. More importantly, if you have a look at the motivation as to why Rishi has come out and said that they're going to give the surcharge, they want to speed up. They want to speed up the property market. They want to start seeing transactions happen. But in actual fact, what they'll find is that if a homeowner is looking to buy a property now, would they actually sit there and think, well, if I buy a property now, am I going to have to pay that stamp duty? Because previously, anything over 125,000, they would have to pay the stamp duty for. Now, as of July 2020, if they're buying something, will they still carry on with a view of paying that stamp duty, or will they now press pause and wait until October and give it a delayed reaction? So, although the motive behind it is to get the property kick-started, the reality is that it's actually going to press pause on the property market up until October, and potentially we'll then start to see the repercussions or the benefits of people starting buying. It's no secret that the government really want to see people come out of rented accommodation and more into accommodation that they own. So they want to try and push home buyers to buy more of their properties out of rental into owning their own property. Now, there's lots of things. I've done lots of videos over the last few months talking about how that may not be possible as well. We've talked about what the mortgage markets have been doing and that they've actually retracted a lot of the mortgage products as a result of COVID-19, as a result of property prices that have actually reducing. So people are pressing the pause on that. We've got people that have been furloughed, we've got people that have been laid off, we've got companies that are going bust. There's lots of videos that I've done over the last few weeks that you can see here as a result of, so are people actually going to be in a position where they can afford property? Now, the stamp duty is a benefit and it will help some people. Will it be something that they can roll out to mass market and is going to get the market buzzing again? I don't think so. Personally, I'd say I don't think so. Finally, I would say that it's going to encourage people to become homeowners, and that is their agenda. However, from a property investor, it doesn't really benefit us a great deal. But on the flip side of it, it does benefit us. Now, what it's doing is actually pushing us away from trying to buy residential stock, as the government's agenda is to get them into residential stock. However, it's now pushing us more towards commercial properties. And as we've talked about over the last few months, there's going to be lots more opportunities for commercial properties. There's going to be lots of opportunities for big buildings that are going to start to become redundant as a result of people working from home. And there are lots of opportunities out there. There's lots of spaces on the high street, companies going bust. We're hearing about them every day. We're hearing about companies that are literally closing their doors as a result of COVID-19. Now, commercial buildings previously, anything up to £500,000, the approximate stamp duty would have been approximately around 30% if you're buying on in residential. But if you're buying a property which is a commercial, you would have approximately spent around £14,000 in stamp duty, which is pretty much half the residential rate. So people are now starting to see this as a benefit, and they're looking at commercial property in a whole new light. Now, when we talk about commercial property, people assume it's just like massive tower blocks or massive office blocks. It doesn't have to be that. Let's simplify it. A commercial building could be something like a shop with a flat above. Now, believe it or not, providing that the commercial has got a larger space than the residential space above, that's a commercial property, and that can actually benefit from commercial rates. More importantly, not sure if many people know that if you buy a house which is converted into 5 or 6 flats, anything above 5 or more units actually benefits from commercial rates as well. So you can utilise, and it's not a loophole, because I don't like to use the word loophole. It's not actually anything that we're trying to defraud. What this is very clear is HMRC guidance to confirm that this is exactly what you can do, and this is what they've confirmed that can happen. Commercial rates are far lower. So the government is actually encouraging us to try and reutilise or repurpose commercial buildings, because they see that buildings are becoming vacant, commercial buildings are becoming vacant. So one way they're taking it away and say we want the residential properties to be utilised as residential dwellings by home buyers or homeowners, but in the second hand they're saying, but in actual fact we want you as property investors to now go and utilise your powers on commercial properties and potentially bring those back into the private sector, whether those as commercial buildings, as more office spaces for other businesses, or to utilise them. And there'll be lapse in some of the planning and the development rights, so that you can start to build and utilise these by using the prior notification system. So there are pros and cons to the SDLT 6-month break that they're giving us, and there will be lots of opportunities as a result. So they are pushing us in one way, but they're pulling it away from another. So you've got to look at that depending on where you are. If you're looking to buy a property, perhaps you may want to press pause right now. Especially if you're buying a property where you are going to be paying stamp duty on it, especially if it's a commercial property. It makes no sense. Where are we now in July, August, September? We've only really got to wait 3 months. Potentially we can renegotiate this with the vendor. Potentially we can exchange, potentially delay the completion. These are all things that you can do. And by speaking to agents, by speaking to the vendors and saying, well guys, if I complete on it now, I'm the best part of X amount of thousands out of pocket. Whereas if I complete on the 1st of October, I'm going to be better off, and it works all round. So there you have it, guys. Quick short video just about current affairs in the property market. And if you like the thought of that and you want to reach out, please press subscribe, send a message below, and I'll try and answer as many comments. Answer as many comments as possible. More importantly, if you're looking for a property investment deal, why don't you download the Property Investor app? It's the UK's first property investment platform in the form of an app, and we've got over 200 properties on the app where you can literally look for below market value deals, rent to rent deals, lease option deals, service accommodation deals, commercial deals, just to name a few. Finally, if you like free education and you want to learn a little bit more about property, I've released a weekly podcast. It's called The Property Rebel. You can find it on iTunes, you can find it on Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, as well as a few other places. I think also on SoundCloud. Download it, it's completely free. We release a new episode every Tuesday. But guys, on that note, I wish you all to be safe and well, and I'll speak to you all very soon. Bye-bye.